You're listening to Shameless Feminine Speaks with your host, modern-day shaman and sister to all, Rebecca Haywood, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Hello, hello, and welcome to Shameless Feminine Speaks, the only show on LA Talk Radio for all you shamelessly shameless women, men, ladies, and misfits, ready for the feminine re-evolution. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, welcome everyone. I'm so happy that you joined us tonight because we have a really special show. It's what I would call one of our medicine shows, even though we're always bringing the medicine, right?
Yeah.
Always bringing the medicine. But tonight's show is called Bridging the Gap in Self-Love, right? And so it's really about bringing the self-love, bringing the self back into self-love, right? We spoke about this a lot last week in the laboring pains of our mothering. And really it came down to in that show that no matter what your issue was, right, whether you overmother others, undermother yourself, or a combination of the two, right, the medicine, the path to healing that shame, that underlying shame against your mothering, is really to turn that nurturing inward, right, to bring the self back into your love, okay? And so that's what tonight is all about.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, I just want to say that, you know, when it comes to this self-love, right, and we did touch on this last week of that aspect of, you know, how we struggle with selfless, you know, versus selfish. And there's such a taboo against, you know, being selfish, against putting yourself first, that somehow that isn't loving, that isn't generous. And it can certainly there's a version of selfish, right?
Sure.
That isn't loving and that is not generous at all, right?
Absolutely.
That is quite self-indulgent, right?
Right.
And yet, you know, and I encouraged you guys to get selfish, right? That was the final invitation that I left you guys in last week, without much clarification on that, with good reason, because I wanted you to just dive into that without holding back. Because I know for me in my journey, right, was that I had to kind of lift any limitation on being selfish in order to really dive into that self-love, right? I had to break all the rules. I had to throw out my book of law on it. And that's really what I wanted you guys to do, was to give yourself complete permission without judgment, you know. And though I am sure that if you took that invitation, you bumped up against quite a bit of judgment.
Absolutely.
Right? From yourself, from others, right? And just, you know, be at peace with the knowing that, yeah, you may cross that line into self-indulgence. You may cross that line to where you are being a little selfish with your love, or you're withholding it from others. But you will come back to that natural balance. You will come back. The equilibrium will be restored. So, you know, tonight's show, we're really kind of pulling back a little bit. The invitation isn't so much get selfish, right? But how do we serve ourselves, right?
Sure.
How do we really, truly serve ourselves? What does that look like? What does that mean? How do we even know? Right? I heard from some of you, you know, who wholeheartedly embraced that invitation to get selfish and just really dove into that self-love and made wonderful acts of, you know, nurturing yourself throughout the week. And I commend you. I think that's wonderful. And yet I also heard from some of you that really kind of hesitated on what I would call that precipice of permission, right? Kind of really feeling that, like, am I allowed? Am I allowed? Right? And that question, am I allowed? You know, it really, you know, we spoke about that ancient feminine shame last time, right? And it really is deep. That question, am I allowed? That willingness to give ourselves permission, to love ourselves, to put ourselves first, to follow our pleasure, you know, let alone our needs, right? It really is so deep within us to kind of hold that back from ourselves, to withhold our love from ourselves. And there's, you know, that can even go to a step deeper for those of you with trauma, which is pretty much all y'all.
Yeah, in some
Right.
way or another. We all have our trauma.
Yeah, no one escapes it.
If you've encountered another human, you have some kind of trauma.
Yeah, exactly. And just living in this world, right? There's really an aspect of ourselves that's not quite sure that we want to be here, right? And so in terms of giving ourselves permission for this self-love, we really have to get over that.
Absolutely.
Mhm. And furthermore, what is even more personal to that question of am I allowed, and really is probably the biggest medicine for everybody out there, is forgiveness, right? Underneath, all of our struggles, underneath all of those beliefs in your mind, underneath all those fingers pointing outside of yourself, there is this underlying, this knowing of how you've gone against yourself, right? How you've gone against your body, how you've ignored your emotional needs, how you've sacrificed your pleasure, sacrificed your spirituality.
Yep.
We all know that, right, about ourselves. And so the greatest medicine that you can give yourself in terms of returning the self to self-love is that forgiveness. Absolutely, 100% that forgiveness. And ask for it from each part of your being. Directly have a conversation with your body. Please forgive me. And in some cases you didn't know, right? In some cases, as Jesus said, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do, right? So forgive yourself. You knew not what you did, right? Or perhaps that's what your best, your love looked like at that time, right? That's what you learned from others, right? And yet, to really reach that forgiveness, it's that self-forgiveness. It's to turn that finger back, right? And to really claim ownership over your actions, your thoughts now. Because really there's no one else here ruling your life now but you.
Yeah.
Right? And so that act of forgiveness, having a direct conversation with your body, having a direct conversation with your emotional body, and really with each emotion. We did several shows kind of bridging the gap between you and your emotional body, right? And so really include that in your conversation with each of those emotions as you do that walk in two worlds and seek to hold that emotion's hand. That might be what that emotion needs to hear. That I am so sorry. Please forgive me for not holding your hand, for not being here, for ignoring you for so long, for pushing you down for so long, right? And, even in the mind, right, how we have used our thoughts against ourselves, right? There's a forgiveness that needs to be granted there in the mind, not an allowance, but a forgiveness, right? Forgiveness is not to excuse what we've done against ourselves and say it's okay, but rather to give back, right? To give back the love, to bring it back to the love, and to give back kind of what was never ours and reclaim what is ours. I repent, never again, and then oops, we have an oopsie. Oh, okay, now never again. Right? And so it's a walk with forgiveness. It can join you in that walk in two worlds, and it's also a walk with forgiveness, that each time you notice you going against yourself, each time you notice prioritizing another's needs over your own, sacrificing your pleasure, playing martyr, right? Doing all of those things that come out of that shame against your mothering, that shame against self-love, then make a plead for forgiveness in that moment. Just hold your hand on your heart and say, please forgive me. Please forgive me. Okay? So forgiveness, if there's like one piece of medicine I want for all of you today, that's it. That's it. And so, let's talk a little bit about forgiving yourself.
Okay.
Because that in itself might be a barrier for you, right? So for you, Sheena, what is your experience with recognizing kind of where you need to forgive yourself and what that journey's been?
For me, it's been about, getting involved with people in my life that were not the most loving people, that were on various levels of awful to me. and then not knowing what my responsibility was in that, and assuming as an empath that it was all my fault, and that I should have known, or I should have done something, or I should have done it different, or why didn't I see it, or I'm a person that my whole life has counseled other people on helping them. How come I didn't see that there was this darkness or this negativity or this narcissism in my midst? And why didn't I put a stop to it? And then what other people got hurt because of it? And it would start to sort of spiral out of control. None of that was about forgiveness. It was just about, first I was involved with a person who was blaming everything on me. Then when I finally got rid of them, I took over blaming everything on me. And there was never any forgiveness for me. And when clients come to me and say, am I supposed to forgive somebody who was horrible to me? I always say, well, that's 100% up to you. And it depends on the situation, the person, and what was done to you. But you absolutely always have to forgive yourself. Because you're allowed to screw some things up, especially if you do it with good intentions. If you're just, you put your love out there and you're expecting someone to just love you back, or you extend friendship to somebody and you expect the friendship to be extended back, or you extend a kindness, you think a kindness is coming back. We see the world from the time we're babies as a reflection of us. We think when we look out at the world, what everyone is looking at us the way we're looking at everybody else. But it doesn't necessarily work that way. And when it turns out it's not, and you get hurt, you get betrayed, you get devastated, you get damaged, you have trauma, the number one thing you have to do is forgive yourself and say, we all make mistakes. Human beings make mistakes. That's just what it's about. And I was somebody that was a very difficult thing for me to learn to forgive myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we immediately go, and when it's forgiveness, right? And what you were describing was immediately going into suffering the wrong, right? And that is a big misconception on forgiveness, that we have to kind of punish ourselves to earn that forgiveness, right? And that's absolutely not true. When I have experienced true forgiveness, when I get there, whether it's forgiving a person outside of me or forgiving myself, when I have really reached that true forgiveness, I come to a place where I recognize there's nothing to forgive, right? Because I've really come to peace with that action. I understand where I was coming from. I see that it was my best at that time. I see that it was my understanding or my misunderstanding, right? I'm honoring myself. I'm already in a place of self-love, right? And so be very mindful as you step into this, not to go into that kind of, going against yourself into that place of needing to suffer in order to earn the forgiveness. You don't have to earn your forgiveness. And guess what? That self is so willing to forgive you. Your body is like your most loyal
Absolutely.
friend, and is so willing to forgive you. Your emotions are so willing to forgive you, and just waiting for you to hold their hand and mother them again. Right? So every aspect of you, and spirit really doesn't hold grudges.
No. Well, for some things.
Oh, wow.
I do. Yeah, I don't. You don't believe that? Oh, I do.
No.
Oh, you're so sweet. Look at you, such a sweet little new agey sweet thing. I do believe that there are things where spirit is like, yeah, you know what? That was just a real douche move, and you're gonna have to learn some lessons because of that.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes we have to learn.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's not
always
okay.
We have to learn or unlearn. Yeah.
We forgave everything, but when you put the kittens in the sack and threw them in the river, you went too far, and it's not okay.
Yeah.
And I think then, and the same thing, I would expect too to be told by spirit, no, that's not okay, if I had acted inappropriately. And I even think spirit tells you it's not okay if you keep repeating the same patterns and getting involved with the same people who hurt you again and again. At some point, spirit kind of taps in like, okay, we keep throwing the lesson at you and you're just not learning. So the lesson is to overcome this and to have enough love for yourself to just say no to this and then to ascend further. And that's the thing, as long as you're not forgiving yourself and you're not really finding that place, I think of self-love as the place between selfless and selfish. It kind of lives in between, where you're giving yourself all that you need, but you're not taking anything that doesn't belong to you. And you're not living for yourself, but you are living for your better good, which is how we should all live, I think. And I think when you get to that self-love place, I think that's when spirit's like, oh, now you got it. See, good for you.
Yeah.
Now I'll give you another lesson.
Yeah.
No more crazy people.
Yeah. Well, and again, there's a distinction here being made between forgiveness and it's okay.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And so, I think what you're speaking to is like spirit and even yourself. You shouldn't necessarily say, "Oh, it's okay." Right?
Yeah,
we're
right,
not
exactly.
just excusing bad behavior from ourselves or from other people,
Right, no.
or spirit from us, right? And there are lessons and words and understandings that need to be made, right, and spoken. And yet we can still forgive, right? We can
Absolutely.
still forgive 100%.
Absolutely.
And that's where
Yeah.
this little old age, new agey girl, because I would say I'm not new age, I'm old age. But yeah, that's really, what I mean when like spirit forgives all.
And I do agree with you that spirit doesn't hold grudges. I said I didn't, but now I do. Now I'm hand holding.
Oh, look.
Now I'm initiating the hand holding tonight. But I do agree that the universe doesn't hold grudges per se. But I do think the universe lays down the justice and says, no. This is not okay.
Yeah,
You keep saying that you want this, and this from life, and all that we hear about is you want this, you want this, you want this, but all we're seeing is how you are taking and taking and taking and never giving to anyone. And sometimes people will say to me, clients will say, how come I don't have this, and how come I didn't get this? And it's like, well, but what have you done with your life? You've done nothing but things that benefit you. You've been completely self-indulgent. And then you wonder why all these gifts aren't coming to you. If you go to 10 birthday parties and you never bring a gift, when it's time for your party, probably everyone's going to come and not bring a gift. And you can't really be upset about that.
Right.
So I really believe in the yin and the yang and the balance of the universe, the balance of the light and the dark and the yes and the no and the good and the bad. And I'm very much into the balance. My mom used to talk about disrupting the balance of the universe, and I love that expression. And I do think when there are ways that you can disrupt the balance by continually taking and never giving back.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is a balance. Like I like what you said, where self-love is somewhere between selfish
and selfless.
Yeah. And
it's a sweet spot.
Yeah, it's interesting because I almost called tonight's show The Selfish Road to Selfless.
Oh, I love it.
And yet, I didn't really want the focus being that we're landing on selfless.
Yeah.
It's really about honoring thyself, and yet what is this self that we're defining, right? And for me, the more I really developed a deep sense of self and a deep love of self, then as I was saying last week, that my cup was full, and then it overflows, right? Then I'm in that true place of generosity, where I'm part of the equation. It's seamless. The giving and the receiving is seamless, where the self and the all is seamless, right? I don't really necessarily see there, though, of course, there's a distinction between myself and you, right? I love you no differently than I love myself.
Yeah, me too. I love you no differently than I love myself.
Yeah, exactly. So, and why should we?
Exactly.
Right.
But I think most people either love themselves more than everyone else, or they love themselves less than everyone else. They haven't yet achieved that balance, which is what I think self-love is, finding that balance. If this is selfless and this is selfish, when you find the self-love, you find the balance.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of the point of tonight's show, is like, don't worry about the selfless. Don't worry about getting there. Like, you will get there organically. Don't worry about being so generous with your love and being so unconditional with your love for others.
Yes.
You will get there organically. First, practice unconditional love with yourself, generosity with yourself, nurture thyself, be a little selfish, indulge in that self-love, and then organically you will blossom into that place.
Well, I think universe kind of taps you on the shoulder too and says, okay, what's this? There's all this giving and there's no receiving. Because universe wants everything always to be in balance. So just as you get the tap, tap, tap if you're taking too much, you'll also get the tap, tap, tap if you're giving too much and you're not picking out folks that give you anything, and there's no receiving even from yourself.
Right.
So the idea is not just to be somebody who is always giving or always taking. It's finding that balance, because the universe, right, is the yin yang. It's the, look at my very bad finger graphic. It's the worst. Yours is so much better. Mine's like, it's the, it's the balance. Universe is always seeking balance.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it can be confusing if we set out to find the balance, right? Rather than just trusting, right? Trusting in that organic equilibrium kind of returning to us. I love what Sheena often says on this show, that the most important relationship that we have is the one with ourselves.
Connection with you, my friends. Connect to you.
Yeah.
Plug it in.
Yeah. And that's really, to restore that presence back to yourself. Besides that question of, am I allowed, right? There are others out there that, as they kind of initiated and heeded this invitation to get selfish and to really go into self-love, they kind of stopped at this place of not even knowing where to begin, right? What do I want, right? When we have been so disconnected from ourselves and constantly giving, and our focus, our attention has been on them. What do they need? What do they need? What do they need? Holding the roof up over our family's head, right? Then we can really be so disconnected from ourselves that voice, that inner voice of ourself that's saying, like, I need this, I want that, it's fallen silent, right? Or we no longer know how to listen to it.
Yeah.
Right. And so, that's another obstacle for some of you, is just that, well, what do I want? And how do I restore that connection? How do I restore that connection? Well, in both of those cases, in all cases, again, I come back to the forgiveness, right? First, we have to bridge that gap between you and you, right? Where you trust yourself again, okay? And maybe you're not quite willing to trust yourself again. Maybe your emotions aren't quite willing to trust you all the way yet. Your body isn't quite willing to roll over for you yet. And yet you can begin that conversation, by saying, please forgive me. And in that please forgive me, right, when you get that apology from someone from the outside, what is it that you need? The words aren't necessarily enough. You need the action behind it, right? You need to know that, one, they're not going to do it again, and how are they going to behave differently, right? What are some actions that they're going to take to remedy that behavior?
Yep.
Right? So I want to give you some of those actions tonight, okay, to kind of bridge that gap within yourself, okay? And so let's start with the mind, okay? Now, in the mind, right, lives the judgment, right? And we spoke last week about a lot of the shame of the mind against mothering and against nurturing yourself, right? Deeming self-love as selfish, okay? And that judgment lives in you, and yes, it lives in most human minds in the world around you. But the only judgment that you can really change is your own. So focus on that, okay? Don't worry about everybody else. Just focus on your judgment, on what's going on in your mind, okay? And one of the things that I like to do when I'm trying to shift a belief in my mind is that I give it a mantra. I've said that before on this show. It's, give the squirrel a nut to chew, right? So we can do the rest of the work over here, right? So anytime that you feel yourself or hear yourself judging, oh, I'm being selfish, oh, I'm not being generous enough, oh, what are they going to do without me? The roof is going to fall down, right? This mantra really works for me. I am the love that I give. I am the love that I give. Okay. And I can only give the love that I am. Okay, 2-part mantra. I am the love that I give, and I can only give the love that I am.
It's beautiful.
Okay. So this, really write down this mantra for yourself, and, even start your day this way. Start your day this way, end your day this way. One tool that we use on the Toltec path is something called recapitulation, where at the end of our day, we recapitulate our day. We remember it, right? We go back and just kind of remember our day. And you can interject this mantra anywhere in your day where you see, oh, yeah, I held myself back. I withheld my love from myself. I sacrificed my pleasure in that. I said yes when I meant no. Put that mantra into that moment. Replay that moment, but with this mantra. And replay that moment also with this mantra in action inside of you. How would that moment have been different, right? If it were acted upon with self-love, right? Don't underestimate the power of replaying your past, but replaying it differently, okay? It's another aspect of unwinding, okay? Our history from our body is to actually rewrite our history, okay? And then the next time that you come across that person or that situation, that similar kind of moment, I guarantee you won't be as quick to fly to the yes when you mean no, right? You won't be as quick to fly against yourself, okay? And this mantra will come for you. This mantra will come naturally, like you planted it there, like a seed, and it's just waiting for you, okay? So use that mantra, okay? The other thing that I want to invite you all to do, and I know you're going to love this, so I want you to create a self-wish, list, okay?
Yes.
So instead of self-ish, self-wish, and I got to throw props out to my girlfriend Corey. We came up with this on one fabulous girls' night out.
Nice, nice.
We were turning selfish to self-wish. And so I want you all to create a self-wish list for yourself, okay?
So important.
Yeah, and there are no rules to what can be on this self-wish list, right? There may be big things, kind of like a big bucket list, of things that you've always wanted to do, places you've always wanted to see, people you've wanted to meet, experiences you wanted to have, big things. And then it can also be, don't underestimate the little things, right? And the kind of shifting of your daily ritual things, right? Like my self-wish is to really create space for myself in the mornings, right? Where I have a complete solid half hour before I have to engage with anybody, with the world.
Wow.
Where I can just have that time to wake up slowly, to do my meditation if that's what I want to do, or just sip on my coffee, right?
Yeah.
And sit out on my little patio and feel the morning sun on my skin, right? Those little simple moments that you can start putting on your self-wish list, okay? And don't be shy. It can be really, really long. This can be ongoing, okay? And then pick one thing from your self-wish list each day and do it.
I love that.
Every day you do it, okay?
Absolutely. And it can also be things that you want to work on within yourself.
Yes.
Places that you wish you could get to, and things a person that you wish you could become. And that's okay to say that. You don't have to dislike yourself to want to better yourself.
Yeah.
Just because, you have a great car, but then you want to soup up the engine. It's okay for you to say, I'm very happy with who I am, but who I would like to be in the next year, 2 years, 5 years is somebody who doesn't sweat the small stuff, who feels more connected, who's better at meditation, who's easier at forgiveness. I mean, it's all right to write those things about yourself without them being some kind of testament to God that you don't like yourself.
Right.
It's okay to say there are things I'm still working on. We're all a work in progress, and guess what? We're not going to get it all done before we die. So we come back and do it again a million times. It's okay. We're just trying to get the most quality time in here we can day to day.
Yeah, absolutely. It's choosing those commitments to yourself, right? Those are really commitments to yourself. And I don't know if there's another word for it. I don't really care for the word self-improvement, right? And yet, why not, right? Because, that's not an act of, not loving yourself. For me, I mean, really, my life has been focused on that, of healing myself.
Mine too, yeah.
Of moving more into a place of balance and wellness and love with myself, right? So there's, we'll use the word self-improvement.
I like it.
Why not?
I like it. But we go to that place where we think, if I'm improving, then that means there's something wrong with me, or I'm less than. And sometimes in different kinds of metaphysical communities, they don't like words like improvement or working on, because it makes it seem like there's something wrong with the way you are now. It doesn't. You can be madly in love with your house, but really want to rebuild your backyard.
Right.
Doesn't mean you don't love the house. It just means that a wish is you love the house, but you also wish you had a different backyard. I work on myself all the time. It doesn't mean I don't love myself. I'm crazy about me.
Yeah.
But I also understand there are things that need to be worked on because I want to continue to grow and ascend.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like art, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like a piece of art is never done.
Right. The mural's never finished.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Right. And like tomorrow we may want to add red to that
Great.
beautiful piece of art.
Doesn't mean it's not gorgeous where it is.
Where today we didn't feel the need for
Exactly.
red, right? And it's really just allowing yourself to do everything with self-love, right? It's such a habit to do it with that judgment, okay? So there's a big difference between, on that self-wish list for self-improvement of doing the judgment where, I suck and thus I must, right? It's like love yourself for right where you're at, love yourself for where you've been, right? I don't regret a single moment of my life.
I don't either.
Not a single moment,
Not
because
one.
every one of those was a step that brought me here.
It's all learning
now.
and growing.
Yeah, exactly. And expanding my love, my self-love, because I looked back and I loved every version of myself in my history. I kissed her all over. So do that to yourself. If you still find yourself judging those little moments in your life, in your history, like go back and make love to yourself in those moments.
And if
okay?
you watch the show for no other reason, do it for the image of Rebecca kissing herself all over. That alone should keep you coming back for about 50 more shows. Just that. Just hoping she'll say that again.
You don't even have to imagine. Here it is. Not in a very sexy way, but hey. So moving on from the mind, okay, the body. Okay, let's move into some tools for the body and how to really practice self-love there. And bottom line with the body, nurture, 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 okay? Be as good of a mother to your body as you are to everybody else in your life, okay? Really give it that nurturing. And that's, as we move along here, you may find things that you want to add to your self-wish list, okay? And one of those is, or several of them, I hope, are going to be how you want to nurture your body, right? Now, in nurturing our body, right, there are kind of obvious things like go get a massage, cook your favorite meal, eat well, right? Take your body for a walk. But bottom line, it's not about the shoulds and the shouldn'ts, right? It's not about what's good or bad for your body. It's about returning your presence to your body, where you're listening to your body and really asking it what it wants, right? Your body gives you very clear, I wanna and I don't wanna, right? And it really knows what is best for itself, okay? I spoke last week in that ancient feminine shame about pleasure, right? And part of the invitation to get selfish was to follow your pleasure, okay? Now, your body will show you, okay, what truly is pleasurable and what isn't, right? Because I know some people could take that invitation and really use it against themselves, right? Oh, follow my pleasure, great, like shoot up some heroin, nice and pleasurable, right? Well, not really, not to your body, right? Your body, if you're really listening to your body, it's saying no. It's saying no. So really, it's about restoring that presence to your body, which is, what does that mean? Restore presence to your body. It's just bring your attention there, right? How often are you living up here versus living here, right? How often are you projecting yourself into the future, projecting yourself into the past, and not right here in the here and now, where your body is living and breathing and speaking to you, right? So it's really just about bringing your attention to your body, okay? And when you do that, you will really start to notice just how pleasurable life is, okay? Just how pleasurable life is. And I want you to really put your attention not just on the pleasure, but I want you to put your attention on that you are receiving love, that you are receiving pleasure, okay? And I don't just mean from other people. Certainly notice that, Right? When we've been in this habit of giving, sometimes we don't even notice when life or when the people around us are giving to us, right? The little gifts that are arriving in every moment. And that's a beautiful act, to notice that receiving and notice the pleasure that people want to give you. And yet what I want you to notice are the subtle pleasures, the subtle gifts that you're receiving from life, from just the feeling of the sun on your skin, the wind through your hair, the smell and the breeze, okay? So pleasurable. And the truth is that your body was made to receive that. You know, your body was made not just to perceive it, but to receive it, right? And in a pleasurable way, right? So your body was really made for pleasure. And I'm not, again, just talking about sexual pleasure, although that is another beautiful place to practice, okay? So we're going to get a little racy here for a quick moment. But, you know, why not, right? Why not make that part of your practice of receiving?
Kiss yourself all over, people.
Kiss yourself all over.
Don't miss a spot.
And, you know, if you have a partner, because I think there's really... I know that for some, in terms of pleasuring yourself, that can be a challenge. That can be a place of, you know, that they're shy, right? And
with yourself?
Well,
I think it's a wonderful exercise in becoming less shy with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm encouraging it. I'm not discouraging it. And yet I think it's also really important to do this if you have a partner, to do this with a partner, because those givers out there are really, you know, struggling with that. And that's going to really bust out a lot of that judgment and a lot of that shame that you have about following your pleasure, allowing your pleasure, being given to, okay, allowing yourself to receive, okay. And I guarantee you that your partner is actually going to be so willing to provide and enjoy themselves tremendously and giving to you in that way. And just, you know, so lay back and receive, 100%. Make it an act, and you can do the same for them. Look, we all need to work on this, on opening ourselves to receiving, okay? And to really allowing our pleasure completely. So even though this conversation on pleasure isn't just about sexual pleasure, that is absolutely a place to practice and a fun place to practice. So go for it. You know, put that on your self-wish list, okay? So then, you know, the other aspect of, you know, the body, right? I was saying the body will be really clear with you and communicate with you and tell you its yeses and its nos. It's I wanna, I don't wanna, okay? So this is really important, to honor your yeses and nos, okay? It's one thing to turn your attention there and listen. It's another thing to actually do it.
Yeah.
Okay? And those of us that are in that habit of being a caretaker, okay, I had this experience last week, and, you know, I really struggled and realized how much I take care of other people in my no's, okay? That even though I was saying no, I wasn't really behind that no 100%, because I was reaching into that person and wanting to make sure that they were okay, that their feelings weren't hurt, that they knew they were loved, you know? And so I wasn't really completely honoring myself in that no. I was honoring them more than I was honoring myself, right? So, you know, pay attention. Even if you've been on this path of practicing self-love and self-care and nurturing yourself, and you think like, I got this, guess what? Like, I've been on this journey for a really long time, and just last week, the worst date of my life showed me, nope, I had some more work to do in receiving, you know, in receiving my own love and honoring my no, right? I had no issue saying yes to myself, right? No issue saying yes to others. No issue saying no to women. But for me, there was something there in relationship with the masculine, which I'm sure we'll do a show on it once I walk through it completely.
It lives in every one of our shows.
Yes. And so in that no to the masculine, that's where little Rebecca, shied away from really getting behind her no, and receiving her own no, honoring her own no. Yeah. So, you know, honor your yeses and your nos, you know, and follow them with action, with word. Speak them out loud. Speak them out loud to yourself. Speak them out loud to the people around you. and just practice that. Okay. And if you are in that habit of saying yes when you mean no, I made a practice for myself a long time ago, just for a period of time, where whenever anybody asked for a favor from me, I made myself say no. No matter what. Even if I was able to do it, it didn't matter. I just made myself say no so that I could get comfortable with that, because it was really uncomfortable for me.
But I have learned to say no in a lot of instances.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Without action, we're not really, we can dislodge beliefs in our mind. We can give them a mantra, but the action is really what plants it and grounds it in our body. Okay. So find the ways to put action to yourself. That was my way. That might not be your way. But for me, it was really good medicine to just like, my answer's no, my answer's no, my answer's no matter how uncomfortable I was, right? Because, I really want to help this person, right?
Yeah.
Just nope. Or, and then, it was a period of time. So, just you'll know when you're kind of done with that. You'll know when like, okay, like I'm no longer freaking out on the inside as I'm saying no. I'm no longer wanting to pick up that phone and call them back and go, I'm so sorry. I say yes. Of course I'll help you. Okay. So it's a really great practice. All right. So then let's move on to the emotions. Okay. Now, again, I'm going to say mother yourself here. Okay. And this really, if you missed our 3 shows about emotions, I invite you to watch them again, or watch them, because it really, 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 in the emotional body, your emotional body is like a child. It's innocent. It's really innocent. And there's no emotion inside of your body that is wrong or bad. Okay. And yet we have shamed them, and we have disconnected from them, and we have suppressed them. We have pushed them down. We have made them wrong. And so it's really in your emotional body to be that mother to them, to reach out and hold their hand, to love them all, no matter the emotion, unconditionally, right? That's how they, one, will tell you their story, tell you their need, communicate with you, come closer to you, trust you again, right? And that's how they will remain in flow, right? In those shows, I described emotion as energy in motion, emotion, energy in motion, okay? And we talked about how watery they are, right? And yet we fix them with our judgment against them, okay? So lift that judgment, be that mother to them again, okay? And you will be amazed as you get to see that every emotion truly comes from love, okay? That's the beauty that you will find if you're just willing to take that leap, lift the judgment against them, and allow every emotion in your body to be, and just hold its hand, right? Hold its hand, okay? And, as you're doing that, like holding your own hand, okay, now let me be clear. Hold your own hand and ask for help when you need it. That's part of mothering yourself, okay? There's nothing wrong with asking for help, okay? I ask for help, right? I asked for help just yesterday. I asked for help from my dear friend. I needed a mirror. I needed to move through something, and I was in kind of a stuck place. I was in a place where I couldn't quite see, so we all need those mirrors, right? And it's not just a mirror to reflect thoughts off of. Sometimes we really need that hand to hold, that embrace. We need that physicality with us. We just need somebody to cry with, or need somebody to scream with, need someone to say, I hear you, I see you, I feel you, and it's okay. It's going to be okay. So hold your own hand, mother yourself. But what do you do as a mother, right? You recognize when your child needs help, right? So bring that help, bring that support to your child when needed, okay? But really, be active in your mothering, be active in your acts of self-care and nurturing, okay? We can get kind of passive, right? Yeah. Passive acts of nurturing would be, for example, like, reaching for the tub of Ben & Jerry's, right? Oh. Right? That might feel very nurturing, right? And that might be very nurturing. It very well could be. And yet it's somewhat of a passive, right? You're using something, okay? So be active, like do your best to hold your own hand, to embrace yourself. I have literally held myself in bed before. Sure.
Just I do when I'm sick.
Yeah. And, we just need that. We need to be there for ourselves. And so don't be shy in that. Don't underestimate that power of turning that love that you so freely and willingly give to others, to turn that love to yourself, okay? And to turn it to your emotions, to your body, to your mind, okay? They all deserve that love, and they're all parts of yourself, right? We tend to, in the spiritual world, we're looking to, like, I am not my body, I'm not my emotions, I'm not my mind, right? And this is true. They aren't what you are or all that you are, but they are an aspect of you, okay? And they are to be honored, right? So it's not about disconnecting from these just because it's not what you are, it's not what your soul is, it's not what your spirit is. They're still meant to be honored. They still deserve your attention. And if you turn your attention to them, very organically, that love that you are, that you've been turning everywhere else, when you just simply redirect that attention back to yourself, that love comes with it. Okay? All right? So, and for those of you that don't know what you want, that are in that place of that you've been disconnected for so long and you're not sure, when you're creating your self-wish list, and you're in that place of, I don't even know where to begin with this self-wish list, just find out, okay? Just find out. Don't be afraid to find out. Spend some more time by yourself. Take yourself out on dates. Find out what you really love, what brings pleasure to you. Find that out and just start to have a relationship with yourself, okay? So you might have to date yourself for a little while, okay? And that's okay.
Don't knock it till you've tried it.
Yeah, exactly. Those are like the best dates in my life.
Mine too.
So, So, I did want to do a meditation with you all tonight, but I don't think we really have time. So I'm going to kind of minimize this to, the aspect that I wanted to speak to with this meditation was the heart. Okay. Of course, we have to address the heart when we're talking about self-love. And so I'm just going to give you a really, really simple visualization, okay? And what I want you to imagine, okay, is actually I'm going to give you two. So there's one thing that Sarita always used to have me do, and she would also have her clients do it, of just holding your palms face up like this, and just closing your eyes and just receiving, okay? And maybe you have a specific request, but you don't need to. You can just simply, when you're feeling energetically depleted, you can just simply open your hands like this and just receive. And always remember the breath. Sarita always used to say, you have the keys to your happiness in your hands. Everything that you want, there is nothing that Spirit doesn't want to give you. And so we open our hands to receive. Okay. And the other visualization that I want you to walk with, okay, is I want you to imagine, okay, right here at your heart, I want you to imagine an empty bowl. Nothing more, nothing less. Just an empty bowl, ready to receive. Just visualize that empty bowl right here at your heart. Open to the world, open to Spirit, open to the moment, open to yourself, open to the past, open to the future, to all possibilities. Ready to be filled, always ready to be filled, always ready to receive. Yeah, so walk with that empty bowl as that empty bowl, and be that open channel of receiving. Okay? So all of these practices I invite you to actually do, right? They're only good if you actually do them.
It only works if you work it, friends.
Yeah. And have fun with it, okay? And as always, I'm available for private sessions. Sheena is available for private sessions.
Yes.
You can find her at...
You can find me at Sheena Metal Spiritual or at .com or at IamRaisingYourVibration.com. And you can text me, 818-437-0886. That's the quickest way to get a response, and I make myself available to you.
Yeah, beautiful. And you can find me at RebeccaHaywood.com and anywhere on social media as at Shaman Sister. And there should be a link up on the top of the screen here. I am teaching a workshop in Washington and Yakima,
Beautiful.
Washington, on developing emotional presence, which we did cover in our emotional shows. So please check that out, spread the word if you have friends in the area. And I will also be available for private sessions while I'm there. So even if you can't make the workshop, sign up for a session.
Beautiful. And I'm teaching a workshop on how crystals can change your life and your outlook.
I love that.
On October 4th at 7 p.m. Pacific. And it will be at meetthecrystals.com.
I love that. And are you sticking with the title you told me on that one?
It's called I've Never Met a Crystal I Didn't Like.
Yeah, I love that.
We're at meetthecrystals.com. So
Yeah,
you're going to meet all the crystals. We're going to meet all those crystals. Never met a crystal I didn't like, my friends. It's true. Some people, a crystal, never.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Beautiful. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Tune again next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific. Same time, same bat channel.
Absolutely.
We'll be here, loving on you as always.
Shameless Feminine Speaks. We love you.
You're listening to Shameless Feminine Speaks with your host, modern-day shaman and sister to all, Rebecca Haywood, right here on LA Talk Radio.